Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. Pillow, the Imaging Library, Episode 1 of 5. You can scan a dataset of 1,000,000 images in seconds without blowing up your memory. The secret is that your library does not actually load pixel data until the last possible moment. The Vision Gateway, lazy loading and metadata is the mechanism that makes handling massive image directories possible. When you build an AI dataset, you often start with an uncurated web scrape. You're staring at a directory of millions of unknown files. You need to filter them down before training. Say your model requires images that are exactly 512 by 512 pixels, saved as JPEGs in full color. A common misconception is that opening an image file inside a script will load every single pixel into memory right away. If that were true, scanning 1,000,000 high-resolution images would consume massive amounts of RAM and eventually crash your machine. Instead, Pillow handles this using a concept called lazy loading. The entry point for reading an image in Pillow is the open function located in the image module. You pass this function a file path and it returns an image object. Here is the key insight. Calling the open function does not decode the raster data. It only opens the file on disk and reads the file header. The header contains just enough information to identify the file and understand its basic geometry. The actual heavy lifting of decompressing and mapping the pixel data is deferred. Because Pillow reads the header immediately, your script gets instant access to the image metadata. This metadata is stored as attributes on the image object. There are three main attributes you will use to evaluate files. First is the format attribute. This identifies the source file type, returning a string like JPEG or PNG. Second is the size attribute. This returns a two-element tuple containing the width and height of the image in pixels. Third is the mode attribute. The mode defines the number and names of the pixel bands in the image, such as RGB for standard color, RGBA for color with transparency, or the letter L for grayscale. With these three attributes, our data engineer can process that massive web scrape safely. They write a loop that calls the open function on each file in the directory. The script checks the metadata. Does the format equal JPEG? Does the size equal 512 by 512? Does the mode equal RGB? If the file fails any of these checks, the script ignores it and moves on. Pillow leaves the actual pixel data completely alone during this entire process. The raster data is only decoded and loaded into memory if your code eventually calls a method that forces it to act on the pixels, like cropping the image or applying a visual filter. For the hundreds of thousands of incorrect images in the directory, that pixel extraction never happens. The memory footprint stays tiny. Your script processes the directory as fast as your storage drive can read those small file headers. Lazy loading transforms the open function from a heavy rendering operation into a highly efficient metadata scanner, keeping your data pipelines fast and your memory usage flat. If you would like to support the show, you can search for DevStories EU on Patreon. That's all for this one. Thanks for listening, and keep building.